Good afternoon, all of our merry Marvelites. Very excited to be bringing a jam-packed all-star show with you. I am Christian Bladt. As always, welcome to Marvel Movie Talk. Joining me, as always, with an accessory that I call the Felicia because of the striking, uncanny resemblance to Felicia Hardy the Black Cat, Michael Shirley.
Hey! Magneto got a hold of me and just sucked it all out.
And making, I think, her first appearance on this show, Xia Anderson with Field Day.
It's been so long since I've heard that. Oh my gosh.
I know you slummed it. And look at this. We're chopped liver. Daniel Drew, Xia with a lot of exclamation points. Kemi Egan, holy crap! Hi, Xia.
Hi, guys.
Do you get this? Do you get this kind of love over on? It's Eric Nagel. Actually, you probably do.
Well, it's Eric Nagel's a little bit different because it's not live, so I never see the comments. The only stuff I see is if when I do Chip, and then I see the comments and feedback afterwards.
Yes, and what Zia's referencing is her now being a regular on the Chip Chipperson podcast. Chip Chipperson, a very close friend to comedian Jim Norton, is the best way to find that. Very close friend, along with Edgar. And you can find, you're in the current episode that's for free on YouTube, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Chip Chipperson. You just search Chip Chipperson, and I'm on the last episode with Brian Johnson of Comic Book Men and Tell 'Em Steve Dave.
And you were also on another show with him, right?
Yes, I've been on 2 of those now. The Would You Kindly? That's what I did that earlier today. I've not gotten a lot of work done today.
Well, thank you for wasting your time with us and all of our Marvelites in the chat. So much fun to talk about. I love when we have exciting Marvel news instead of like rumors that there's no way that they're true, but we need something to talk about. The confirmed by both Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter, Spider-Man 3 will co-star. I was going to say star, but will have Alfred Molina reprising his role as Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, Xia as our guest. I will let Michael go first. Michael, what do you think about that news?
I knew that. I've done enough shows with Christian to know.
You knew that was coming, right? But Michael, what are your thoughts of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 3?
Oh, I love it. I loved Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus originally. I have like a little like special soft spot in my heart for him because he, to me, looks like the guy that would play my dad in a like made-for-TV movie. He he reminds me a lot of my dad. So I've always just had like an affinity for him. But I'm really excited. I think all this is bringing together our Sinister Six. And I think they're going to be pulled from all over the multiverse. And I think that's what's going to happen in this movie.
I love that idea. And Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 that has Alfred Molina in it, it is either my number 1 or number 2 superhero movie. I go back and forth between that and X2. Both of those are amongst my favorites. Because they're great.
X2.
X2 is fantastic. What are you talking about?
It's the best one of them, but I wouldn't put it anywhere in my top favorite superhero movie.
Yeah, it's like being valedictorian at summer school. I get it. Xia, your thoughts on this news, though? Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 3.
I love it. I'm so excited about it because you get that burst of nostalgia that you're going to get. So it's anyone that's a big fan, because when those came out, it was X-Men and Spider-Man. We didn't have a lot of superhero movies like we do now, where there's like 3 or 4 coming out a year. Then it was like kind of that, and that was it. Unless you wanted to watch some of those older movies that, like the Hulk. There was a made-for-TV Hulk movie, or was it Spider-Man? It was something like that, which is not good, which I never saw.
No, but that's a great point. I'll just jump in. That's between, that's in the stretch where we weren't getting Batman movies every other year because George Clooney saw to that. So and we hadn't had a Superman movie, and then we get the one with Brandon Routh. So what you were getting at that point, the Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies were the only things that were even like close to being kind of good, you know?
Exactly. And so at the time, and honestly, I've still got to do a rewatch. I feel like they're still pretty good. And especially then they're fantastic. So you get that factor. And then you just get the fact that Alfred Molina is a great actor. And I thought he was a really good Doc Ock. So I feel like you're hitting all of those buttons. You're getting all the good stuff in one. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be awesome. And I agree with Michael. I think that they're going to just bring everyone from the multiverse in, because I know we're probably going to hit this later, the rumors about Charlie Cox.
That's the next thing we're going to talk about is,
if that's real.
There's when you do these short sort of shows, you get used to the websites that you trust and the ones that you don't. We got this covered, but comicbook.com is one that I usually tend to at least take with a smaller grain, like a half a grain of salt. And they're saying that Charlie Cox is in it. And I mean, I can't imagine him playing anybody other than Daredevil. Why would you put him in the movie? I mean, unless, and this is a theory that was out there before, unless he's in it as just Matt Murdock and he's Peter Parker's lawyer, but I don't know why you would do that to us and not let us see him as Daredevil. So that is sort of the second tier. So the Alfred Molina is the definitely confirmed, reputable source. This next one, I'm still a little hesitant to be all in because I don't know if I believe it. But Xia, how many hours did we spend recapping Daredevil for AfterBuzz on I think we just did season 3 together. Yeah, we did the season 3 after show.
It seemed like a lot because we were doing season 3 at the same time as we were doing every fucking thing else. Like we were
doing all of our shows.
Like literally every single one. So we talked about Marvel for probably 5 hours every week, maybe 6.
And that's why you had to move to the other side of the country. You were like, enough.
Pretty much why I left. And that's why whenever you left the show, I'm like, I'm so busy. I act like I have all this stuff to do. Michael left, Kristen.
That's true. I drove both of you. Yeah, I drove both of you away from California so that you didn't have to do shows with me. But then you didn't realize, with this being the norm in the pandemic, you still get stuck doing shows with me.
Sorry. I know. Here we are. I'm 3 hours ahead, and this is still happening. No, we did. We talked about it a lot. And Charlie Cox is a fan favorite Daredevil. I'm sure it's out there, but I haven't seen it of anyone saying that they didn't like Charlie Cox's Daredevil. He was great. He was a fantastic Daredevil. All I keep saying is people like, can we please, if we're going to bring Daredevil in, can we bring the Daredevil into the MCU? And when we do that, it has to be Charlie Cox, which I agree with. He was great. He's fucking great as Daredevil. So I am hoping that is true, because if it is, I will do a little Daredevil dance. I don't know what that is yet, but it'll be something good.
Well, it's probably with your eyes closed.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably a dance where you knock a bunch of stuff over and fall over. But Michael, there's a bit of a reason for the timing of this. It's only been within the last few weeks that the rights for Daredevil have reverted to Marvel Studios now, because Netflix had them for 2 years after they canceled it, and we're only just a little bit past that point. So they couldn't even talk about this if they'd known it for months. So I think the timing sort of makes sense. Do you believe it, Michael? And how do you feel about getting to see Charlie Cox in a Spider-Man movie?
Yes, I do believe it. It's something we all we wanted, and we just kind of thought, that's not going to happen. But the way the casting for this movie is turning out, it seems like anything can happen in this movie. And it seemed, to me, like it's definitely going to be something from WandaVision is going to kind of, and the Doctor Strange movie is definitely going to have something to do with this and the multiverse. And I'm really excited for it. It sounds like the wackiest thing Marvel's ever done. I thought Captain America Civil War was like really wild for, like a solo hero movie, to have all those characters in it. That's probably one of my very favorite superhero movies. But this, I don't know. I think anything can happen, and I'm really excited for it. And I love how Marvel's leaning into like the creativity, in the comic books, and, letting it be more than a stereotype of just, like the big bad's coming. And, this is definitely different. And I think they saw how well received Spider-Verse was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was so wacky and different. And I think they realized maybe the more out there they get, it's going to be well received and the fans are going to like it.
Yeah. And the inclusion of Doctor Strange in Spider-Man 3 really makes me think that, WandaVision is going to sort of be bridged to Spidey 3, and then Spidey 3 is going to lead to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because it's got the word multiverse in the title, and we're dealing with some multiverse ideas. Xia, the other, the more rumors that we're getting are the idea that we would get Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Kirsten Dunst, and Emma Stone all in this movie.
Oh, what?
Somebody didn't read my email.
No, I told you. I saw.
I know you did. You told me you didn't have a chance to read it.
What do you? Love her.
Yeah, she used to be my neighbor. I used to see her all the time. But
really,
she sold her place in Toluca Lake. Yeah, I haven't seen her in years. But what do you think, Xia, about the idea of bringing our Spider-Men in here? And you could bring Nicholas Hammond, who was TV's 1978 Spider-Man. You could bring Japanese Spider-Man in there. For anybody who's seen the first episode of Marvel 616, Japanese Spider-Man definitely belongs in there with his giant robot and fancy car.
I
want a $20.99 Spider-Man.
Well, sure. What were you going to say, Xia?
I was going to say, I'm with Michael. Give us out there. I love that they're deviating from their usual trope, because how many of those movies can you watch, right? Where it's like, oh, they did this amazing build up. Most of those movies were fantastic, but I feel like now going into phase 5, they have to start changing that up, like you said. So we're getting all this wacky shit. Throw them all in there. Just give me all the Spider-Man. And I know someone else has said this, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but I had the same thought. And so I think about it every time. If they don't take that opportunity to do the Spider-Man pointing at the Spider-Man meme, I'm going to be so upset, because put them all in there. And I talk about, everybody knows how much I love House of M and how much I'm like, put me into a movie. Like, I talk about it all the time.
You do talk about it all the time.
I talk about it all the time. But there is within that, there is a story where that's when Peter Parker is a famous wrestler. He does become a wrestler. He's still Spider-Man, but he's a famous wrestler, and he's married to Gwen Stacy. And Mary Jane is off modeling, doing her own thing. Like, just throw all that shit in there. Just put it in there. You could, because if we're exploring multiverses, you could have all of that.
I agree, and I think that the possibilities, as they say, are endless. I do wonder if it's going to be more cameos from some of the cast from the earlier movies. Yeah. I think that Alfred Molina is probably going to be in it a lot. I think if these other people are in it, it's not going to be as much. And are we going to get Sally Field as Aunt May? I mean, are we going to get everybody from all these movies?
We need the original Aunt May.
She was the most Aunt May of all the Aunt Mays.
Yeah, she was a great Aunt May.
That's who I want.
As much as I absolutely adore Marissa Tomei, and am not at all bothered that she's Aunt May. Like, going into it, you think you'd be like, I should have been annoyed, but I was not at all, because you cannot hate her. You just can't.
I don't buy it.
I don't like it.
Jack Kidd says, you think this is part of the deal with Sony to bring more non-Spider characters into the movie? Probably. I mean, if you remember that, that took a little while. There was this thought that Spider-Man 3 was going to be outside of the MCU. So yeah, this is probably exactly the kind of thing that they wanted. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I believe that. We'll dip back into the chat in a little bit. Xia has limited time. So I wanted to
I'm going to see a DC movie.
Yeah, I know, which is something that I'll talk to you about before you leave, the fact that you're going to a movie, by the way. But the other the big news before this, had we done the show last week, our big news would have been the fact that we're starting to get to see Hailee Steinfeld from the Hawkeye TV series. We're getting to actually see her. So first it was just like, oh, okay, there was some social media stuff that confirmed that she was going to be it, but now we're actually getting to see it, which I think is very cool to see. I mean, as you can see here, this is from CNET, but obviously taking the role of Kate Bishop very seriously here. But I mean, there she is. And, just there she is with Jeremy Renner. You don't even know if, like, is that on set or is that just like between takes? So we're getting to see some of this stuff, which I think is actually pretty cool.
Are they filming that in Atlanta? Sorry,
that's in New York, actually.
It is in New York. Okay, yeah. I was wondering that. I was like, it looks like New York, but I know they often film in Atlanta and say it's New York. So
they do a lot of sets, stuff that are on sound stages in Atlanta. Michael, we haven't talked as much about the Hawkeye show because honestly, when Hailee Steinfeld wasn't available because she had her Apple Plus Apple Plus. I don't even know what that service is called. I have it and I don't even know what it's called.
Everyone
Apple
has no one
or something.
I think it's Apple TV Plus. She had that show was like contractually in her first position, so she couldn't do this right away. So they just waited. And I think that was a smart thing to do. It's like, well, we know who we want to play her. This is a character who's going to show up in movies. So what do you think now that it's confirmed that we've got Hailee Steinfeld? And what do you think about seeing actual on location photographs of her as Kate Bishop?
I really don't know anything about this actress. Like, is she like a singer? Like,
did you see Bumblebee?
Yeah, she was in True Grit, but she was much younger.
She was younger.
Okay.
Yeah, but Bumblebee. This is, you want to talk about faint praise. Bumblebee is the most watchable Transformer movie, so that means it's the least unwatchable Transformer movie. I thought it was fun.
She was fun. She was good in it.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where you go into the movie, and I enjoyed the movie, and younger actors and actresses can sometimes be a little bit rough, but she was good. Like, I enjoyed her in the movie. Her acting, she can act. So like, that's very important. So I think that as far as a Kate Bishop goes, it's going to be fun just to see her and Jeremy Renner sort of interact. I can't say I'm super excited about the show though.
Yeah, I want to know how much of it is him handing over the reins of Hawkeye to Kate Bishop. Like, is he just in the pilot and then you don't see him again? Or are they, does he need help and he knows her for some reason? Because look, we knew Hawkeye was never going to get a movie. I don't know that the character's done enough to even.
Oh, he's gone.
We lost him. It's just a frozen question. Well, we take over the show now. So, Michael.
Yeah. Well, what he was saying, I'm a huge Hawkeye fan. Like, I love Hawkeye, so I'm excited for this show, definitely. We haven't really heard much about it. And I will say that I like her in that outfit. I like that superhero costume. I think that they leaned a little more into the comic books, whereas they haven't really in their movies so much until, I don't know.
And I honestly think that part of the reason that they're leaning into it with this is because Kate Bishop's a newer character, right? Like she's only been written in the past, like however many years. And I think that because her costume is a little bit less risque than a lot of the other costumes that they have, that's why they haven't been. So now they're like, oh, okay, well, this is a costume that's sort of in line with Disney and with Bob. And I feel like that's why they lean so much into that. Because there are some costumes that's like, well, you can't put that on there as much as I would like to see it,
like the original Captain Marvel.
Right. Exactly. Like, they're not going to do that costume.
Are you in a different room, Christian?
Yeah. And I guess there was a little power plug failure. So I had to very quickly switch.
Your electricity went out.
I like your tree.
Yeah. Thank you. It's that's why I was there. It would be fun to be festive. Anyway, thanks for both of you vamping while I was like, oh, I got to get a computer now.
We're good. We're professionals. We know what we're doing.
Of course. I mean, literally, you guys don't need me. Oh, but here, look, this is important. Kame Egan points out that the Christmas tree is lovely. So thank you.
I like how that's the comment you pull. It's like a totally pro-Christian comment.
That's the only comments I'm ever interested in. I mean, that's not true. If there were any pro Zia ones, use it. That's not what we're getting. But so yeah, I think that the point I was making though, it's like I guess we'll have to see what this series is. How much Jeremy Renner is Hawkeye still a character, or is she going to replace him entirely? Which I think. I don't know. I would like to still see him around. I think that it's his family back at the end of Endgame. I don't know. I'd like to kind of see how he makes peace with, him spending those years as the Ronin version of the character, just going around and killing people. So I don't know. I mean,
I think that he's going to be basically the Iron Man to Peter Parker, you know.
You think Hawkeye will?
Yeah, you know, kind of how Robert Downey Jr. was kind of like the mentor for the new Spider-Man. I feel like he's going to kind of be the mentor and go off, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, we know we have Stephen Strange in this next movie, but I think you're right. Long term, somebody's going to have to pick up that mantle for Spidey. You know, so tomorrow there is going to be a big Disney investors call, and in the true spirit of this show, there'll probably be a lot of news that comes out of it, and it'll be tomorrow. But some of it'll be, you know, what their plan is for their you know, for the Marvel movie slate, or you know, when we're the actual closer to getting premiere dates for some of these other Disney Plus series. But the big thing I think a lot of people are wondering about is, will there be an announcement during that meeting, that call, that Black Widow is going to show up on Disney Plus? Now, the reason I bring it up before Zia leaves is because you're going to see Wonder Woman, but not Wonder Woman 1984. You're going to see Wonder Woman 2018 or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to go see that because we're getting ready for Wonder Woman 1984 when it comes out on Christmas Day, because that is most likely going to be our plans.
Yeah, so it'll come out on Christmas Day in theaters, but also simultaneously on HBO Max. And HBO and Warner Brothers has announced their entire 2021 slate, including The Suicide Squad, which will be directed by James Gunn.
So excited about that.
You know, as soon as that's over, he can finally start working on Guardians 3. But anyway, so people are starting to wonder, like, oh, is this model going to extend to other studios? And I think that this decision says a lot more about the abysmal launch of HBO Max and how few subscribers they have. People still don't understand what it is, you know, and I think that Disney Plus is a very strong asset to the brand, and I don't think that they need to move something like Black Widow to it, even if they have to wait beyond May. What do you think, Zia, in terms of what might happen with this Black Widow movie?
Gosh, that's a good question, because they did sort of do that with Mulan, where they released Mulan on Disney Plus and you could rent it for $30, or you could wait a few months until it comes out. And I'm assuming that a lot of people probably waited until it came out. It's possible that they'll do that, but I think that within this meeting, and this is just guessing, obviously, that within the meeting with the vaccine coming out now, the vaccine's starting to roll out, and they're talking about herd immunity happening sometime next year, that they're probably going to hold on to it until they know more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to make them so much more money. And look, the backlash against Warner Brothers has not been kind, because they now have to go through all the creative people involved in every single one of those movies. Anyone whose deal called profit participation is just, and Gal Gadot got a ton of money when they made this announcement, ahead of the announcement, because obviously she was going to make a lot of money off of it being, you know, a theatrical only release, and it's still going to come out in theaters. I would love to see it in the drive-in if it's an option, you know, maybe Christmas Day. But I think a lot of people, of course, are going to watch it at home, you know. So I understand it is a little problematic in that way. Michael, do you think that Black Widow, they're going to hold on to Black Widow, or are they just like, just put it out already? They're slowing down on other movies.
I think they're just going to be forced to with the lineup. I think they really don't want to, but I think they're going to have to do it. I think a lot of the other shows depend on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's certainly, I don't know, I could see them being in a situation where they've held out this long, and they're, you know, but if they do it, it would probably be similar to what they're doing with Wonder Woman 1984, where it's like there's 30 days where it's on HBO Max, and then I don't know, then I guess it goes to on demand or whatever, and it'll still be out in movie theaters this entire time, you know, during all of that. But I guess it'll just depend on what theaters are. And Zia, I assume because you live in New Jersey now, you are going to an indoor movie theater.
I am going into an indoor movie theater.
Girl, you crazy.
Yeah, well, we're about to see. Look, I've been starting to go out a little bit more just in general. It's been a year. I kind of think I might have had it. There was a period where I was pretty sick, and it was like not horrible, but it wasn't. But it was a lot of the same symptoms. And yeah, at this point, I'm just still taking.
You could get it like an antibodies test to find out.
Yeah, I could. Or I could just wear a mask and wash my hands. And eventually, I don't have insurance, so. Yeah.
Or you could just go to the movie theater and sneeze a lot. It'll be fine.
That's very sweet, right?
Wow.
No, no, I would never. If I'm feeling sick, and when I was feeling sick, I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But now I feel fine, and I'm not going where there's like a ton of people, and theaters are at half capacity anyway, and you can't sit next to people, so I'm not super worried about it. That being said, I have to go.
Yeah, no, you have to go to the movie theater.
I gotta go to the movie theater.
Have to go.
Why?
Well, I hope you enjoy the movie theater.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy your super spreader.
Hey, she's not just spreading holiday cheer. She's super spreading holiday cheer, and I think that's really the important part. I think that's
Giuliani over here.
Well. Well, Xia, if people haven't had too much of you in the last 26 minutes and they want to see more, I don't know why, but where would they go to do that?
If you guys want to come hang out, twitch.tv/XiaLand. I play games, I cook food, I eat food. It's a really fun time. And then if you're not following me also on social media, at Xia_land on Twitter and Instagram. And I post about all that stuff there too.
Right. Well, we appreciate you joining us here, and we hope to see you in the new year. But always fun to have Xia with us. But yeah, I know and she can still see us. So, but now she's
so professional. Like
I know. Well,
she because she have like a remote to turn that off. Like, what did she do?
Yeah. Well,
or was that her cameraman?
Her cameraman's her husband. When she uses that setup for when she's on Twitch, so she has a green screen. So on Twitch, she has all she'll be playing the video game behind her, or she can put.
You'll see the video game behind her that she's playing.
Yeah,
and wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and she can also put backdrops there, like so she'll put like Hogwarts or whatever.
I've seen her do that before. Yeah,
it's a great setup. Not for us. I mean, we didn't get like the Danger Room or the Baxter Building or even the Daily Bugle. She's like, there's a green wall behind me. Just deal with it. But in any case,
I'm pretty exciting too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got a Christmas tree. You've got like an off-white wall. Although your cat friend isn't with us today. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
He's doing his own show. He's got a green screen and a gamer chair. Just continuing on this topic, Kemi Egan says, I think Black Widow's going to Disney Plus, but I really hope they don't charge a hefty price to see it like they did with Mulan. I mean, I don't think they need to. That was the point I was making about HBO Max. HBO Max needs people to check it out. And Disney Plus is like, no, we're good. We already have enough stuff. So if you want it, you're going to pay for it, and they might do like a limited window like they did with Mulan. But I don't know. I think that right now at the end of December, they're not ready to commit to not releasing a movie in May. I think they want to give it a couple months. We've got people in the UK and Canada getting vaccines now. They're like, well, we have to be next, and I think that it's funny because Kemi Egan literally just asked about your cat right when I did. So I think he's going to have to get his own box on the show. You'll have to, you'll have to bring him in, have him figured out. But and let's see. So Daniel Drew on the similar topic. I feel like they may just make the next year or so only MCU shows and wait to deal with the movies a bit later in the year or 2022.
They can do that.
I mean, there's a lot of money tied up in those movies, and each of them's already been pushed back a year. And
this isn't New Mutants.
No, few things are though. But that'll come up again at the end of the show. You'll see. We'll come up. We have a reason to mention that. It all ties into our show next week. But I don't know. I think I appreciate everybody kind of giving the feedback. Obviously, do I want to get up one morning and then see that it's just there on Disney Plus and just watch it? That'd be great. But I just don't think
going to happen.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that
we're going to know. I think it's going to come out on Disney Plus, but they're going to let us know. You're not just going to surprise.
They're not going to. No, they're not going to surprise you. They'll be a.
And I think it'll definitely be the same price as Mulan.
It should be more. It should be $50 instead of 30.
I don't think they'll do that.
No, I know that does sound pretty crazy. So some of the other news, we're talking about this. I referenced the fact that there's, a vaccine people are getting in parts of the world, but somebody that I guess won't be quick to sign up for it is Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri in the Black Panther movies, because of some anti-vax material that she posted. She posted a video, like an hour-long video, and I'm like, well, who watched that? Who follows her to watch hour-long anti-vax videos? But yeah. I think that you can hear that and be like, oh, okay, so there's a contingent of people. I get she's entitled to be crazy about it, but whenever anything like this happens, it's immediately followed with like, well, now we have to replace her. She can't be Shuri anymore. And I'm like, I mean, she can, like, why does she not get to play this part anymore? Because, maybe she has her own opinion, even if a lot of us think that opinion is stupid. What do you think about all of this, Michael?
Well, from what I've read, it seems like she was just asking questions or whatever. Yeah. That's what she says she was doing. I want to think she was just drunk one night and did that, because I think this has really, really jeopardized her chances of becoming Black Panther. Yeah. Like very much so, I think. Or as I like to call her, the anti-vax Panther. I really, 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 really wanted her to take up the mantle. But now after this, I know how Disney hates controversy. I don't know. I mean, they made, Marvel's a little less scared of controversy. I mean, they hired Robert Downey Jr. But
that's a good point.
I don't know. I think it's just going to depend. Well, they're going to have to test and see how people feel about her.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think if they learned anything from the James Gunn fiasco, it's to not react too quickly. They ultimately put him back on the movie they took him off of, So I think that they need to think about it. I mean, people do love her as the part, and it just depends. How much does she want to do it? Is she able
Well, that's
to
what
say,
I'm
like,
wondering. Do people still love her anymore?
Well, yeah. And and a bunch of people.
Culture is so fierce and so quick right now.
Yeah, I mean, look what it did to Xia. Xia could only be here for half the show because she was canceled. I mean, what could we do? But yeah, and similarly, I guess there's any happens. These things, you start to hear about movement to get rid of people. So this is going on with, there's this hashtag or Fix Mismo, which is obviously, there's a lot of excitement about a very inclusive, Marvel's first Muslim character, really, especially lead. Come on, her named it.
Having a little trouble hearing about that Christian.
Before, but some of the other there's, and I'm not gonna, because how this
having a little trouble hearing you, Christian.
Offender, and it was just somebody else with a similar name, and it wasn't this actor, and so they've moved forward on that, and it's like, okay, so you want to replace a guy who's not even in the movie, just somebody that has the TV series that has the same name. And look, the more valid concerns seem to be that people wonder about having non-Muslim actors playing other Muslim characters on the show. And I mean, I don't, and I'm going to, this is basically what it comes back around on the earlier thing. Dominica Saxon says that, she's an actress. I don't care what her opinion is on things. I just want to see her in movies. Yeah. I mean, it's like, if you can if you can separate somebody's, especially I think in this day and age, a lot of people have to ignore politics when it comes to things. There's a show that's supposed to be, and none of this is confirmed except for Iman Vellani, but none of these other actors are confirmed from Ms. Marvel, but somebody's being preemptively canceled from the show because people believe that that they were a Trump supporter. And it's like, okay, so now people who vote way that you don't like shouldn't be on television or movies. And I mean, this is exactly what you're saying about cancel culture. It's like, well, anybody who doesn't check all the right boxes, we have to get rid of. And look, I think there's plenty of examples where people shouldn't be brought back for roles after things that they've done. I don't.
Kevin Spacey.
I don't disagree. Yeah, that's a great example. Kevin Spacey was like, I think we've had enough of him. Yeah,
a little
but
different.
I mean, that's a
video.
Yeah. So I don't know, and I mean, I think that no fandom, no studio is exempt from this sort of thing. We run into this kind of everywhere. But what do you think? I mean, not even about these specific instances, but the fact that like Fix Ms. Marvel is trending about actors that aren't even necessarily on the show. And in one case, it's not even the right actor. They've like just found a similar name and they're disparaging the actor with this name because they're saying things about him that aren't true. Is this just where we are at the end of 2020, almost 2021, that people just need everybody to fit in a very narrow definition if they're going to be able to enjoy their content?
Personally, I'm not paying any attention to it. I never really get caught up in like fan gossip and drama. Like it's just, I'm 18 now, so I'm grown up, and I don't need.
Finally, we've been waiting. I've been waiting all this.
Any of that? Yeah, I don't get into any.
You can
of that
finally
anymore.
buy cigarettes now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it's when people get so caught up in it. I mean, we were talking about Jeremy Renner before. There were allegations against him, just third party allegations. That's all it was. So, and I think that look, there's severe allegations that happen to people. Look, we're not talking about how Harvey Weinstein should produce the next Avengers movie. I mean, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying, like, why is everybody so quick to for things that aren't even necessarily true? And Cam on this. Despite what your political affiliation is or your opinions, as long as they're not hateful, it shouldn't jeopardize whether or not an actor is good for a role. Yeah, I mean, sure. If you make thousands of dollars in donations to the Klan, yeah, okay, maybe you then are asked to not appear in Black Panther 2. Okay, so I've come up with
great analogies today.
Hey, that's what people tune in for.
Yeah.
Stay for the come for the charm, but stay for the analogies. So, but yeah, I mean, and it's because it's this huge company of Disney. Disney doesn't want people who don't represent their stance on things that they don't want to weigh in on, things that they don't want to give, things that they don't want to react to at all. I mean, they don't. Disney didn't want to tell you how to vote. So don't necessarily want people that are outspoken about it. And this is very funny. And I know Dominica Saxon. He says Michael does have charm. So obviously he's very smart. He's right in not calling me out for having any charm, but I think everybody knows that at this point. I don't know. Let us know what you think. And says that rumors spin too fast and pile on. It's tough. It's tough to navigate it because somewhere in the chat, somebody mentioned that Don Cheadle stood up for Letitia Wright, but then he heard about what she said and he was like, oh, wait, sorry. I really like her, but I didn't know that that's what it was. So, it's, you just have to be careful with all of it. I don't know. I'm excited.
Everyone's business.
Yeah. Well, especially Terrence Howard, so.
Yeah, that was that's where I was going with that.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think that I'm excited for the idea of this Miss Marvel show. As you know, I'm not that familiar with the character. I've only read a couple things with her in it. There was an episode of the most recent Spider-Man animated series she was in, and I'm excited to kind of see her story unfold. I hope I expect it to be a good show. And man, when there's this level of drama and they haven't even finished casting the everybody on the show, and they haven't started filming, I can only wonder, where it goes from here. Before we wind down, I thought that and we'll let you know about our next episode, which I'm very excited for, and I have to make sure that my computer stays plugged in. I got to keep my computer plugged in next week.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about the actor who is best known for having played Kitty Pryde, not the only person to play Kitty Pryde, I guess, but the definitive Kitty Pryde from The Last Stand and Days of Future Past. I think those are the only two that we had Kitty. But that actor is Elliot Page, and I know that we were trading messages about that, and I don't know. I mean, I think that if and I was already a follower of Twitter. It's always hard to talk about these things, and you don't want to say anything the wrong way. And I mean, it's not it's not surprising. It's just not something that happens that much, And I guess that Netflix went and now this actor is credited as Elliot Page on anything that Netflix has. So it's not and I hear that and I'm like, I hope that this is what makes Elliot happy, and I hope that what was missing from his life and is able to move forward. It's still, I've always thought a tremendous actor. I've never had anything. Going all the way back to a movie that Michael and I were texting about, Hard Candy, with creepy Patrick Wilson.
Such a good movie. Oh, I've got that on DVD. I love it. Just makes your skin crawl.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts when you hear this news about Elliot Page?
Well, I was just kind of like, what? I don't know. I was just really kind of shocked. It was.
Well, it's not something that happens that often,
But she just so recently came out as being a lesbian, and now Ellen Page says, "Oh, well, I'm actually Elliot Page now." I mean, that's fine, whatever. Personally, I think the backdating of the name and like Netflix and just, whatever people are requesting or her management or whatever they're requesting, I think that's strange. I don't get that. I think that you can't just cut out part of your life, and I think that sure, for the Umbrella Academy, any show that Elliot's currently in that's still currently running, sure, go back and backdate that so it doesn't look strange in the credits where Ellen is just all of a sudden Elliot. Sure, do that. But aside from that, going back to other films or other projects, anything that's not currently in production, I think that's silly and it's pointless. I don't know.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, do reps get involved and ask for something like that? Does Netflix proactively feel like, oh, this is how we can show our support? I don't think that that's necessarily what it is, because it seems like a lot of work to go and, change credits and things. But
there's no point in pretending, that you've always been Elliot when you haven't,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I think that by the way, if they told me that tomorrow that Elliot Page would be playing Kitty in Spider-Man 3, I wouldn't my thought wouldn't be oh well, they should probably recast the role of Kitty. It would be I'm so excited that we finally get Kitty in a movie where she might have more than 10 lines.
I don't think that Elliot Page will be taking straight cisgender female roles anymore.
Yeah. And Jack points out that Umbrella Academy season 3, they're going to address it, which I think is a smart way to handle it. You don't have to, there's no reason to ignore it, you know? Let us know what you think.
Is the character going to train? Sorry.
That's what I think. That's what I think Jack was saying. I guess
that the character's going to transition in the show.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I guess
Elliot, isn't it?
Yeah,
everything's coming up, Elliot.
Everything's coming up, Elliot. Let us know what you think about that. Any of the other things that we've talked about. There have been some great comments in the chat. And I just that some of you left as soon as Xia did. And I'm going to try to not take that personally, but just know that I do. I definitely.
Did our stream just like drop in viewers like by like 50% when Xia went to her super spreader event?
Yeah. You know, our pal Rachel Goodman, who we show with sometimes, she's gone to indoor movie theaters, but it was, it was mostly
stop that girl from seeing a movie.
Yeah, well, Zia's, I guess, the same way. I mean, it's like, and the interesting thing is Zia's not going to see, any new movies. She's going to see Wonder Woman, which I could reach on the shelf behind me and just grab Wonder Woman if I wanted to watch it.
That's right. And I thought she was going to some preview screening of 1984. She's literally just going to see the old Wonder Woman and literally endangering her life to see some rerun. Okay,
cool. Right, exactly. You know what? I'm going to agree with you. If you're getting to go to some kind of advanced press screening where they're like, "Hey, socially distanced. There's going to be seats between everybody," I'd be like, all right, I guess, but
yeah, they don't have any insider screenings in New Jersey.
No, but she could go into, actually, I was going to say she could go into New York, but in New York, the movie theaters aren't open, so she wouldn't be able to. Yeah. So everybody from New York goes on the bridge, takes the bridges and tunnels, and they fill up the movie theaters in New Jersey, where Xia is right now. Anyway, so, I wanted to bring in this comment from much earlier in the show. Daniel says some that say that Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst could be the parents of Mayday Parker. That could be that universe. I think we're going to see a lot of these permutations, a lot of other universes, and some of which we certainly saw in the animated Into the Spider-Verse movie. But I think there's still a lot of room for a lot of things we can do here, and I don't know. I am excited for that movie. After the ending of Spider-Man Far From Home, I've been looking forward to that movie, but they just keep adding stuff to it. That's like, well, that's going to be cool too, isn't it? Like we didn't even touch on the fact that we've known for months that Jamie Foxx is going to be in that movie as Electro again, So that just lends itself to building the Sinister Six, which there are definitely a contingent in the chat. And I agree with Dominica Saxon. This is from much earlier. Daredevil Punisher movie. Yeah. I would like that. I think a Daredevil movie would be first, which is something Kemi Egan referenced earlier. I think we're going to get all this great stuff. And finally, Daniel has a whole theory.
Daredevil movie.
Well, we might get him in a movie, but we already feel that that's confident. Daniel says, so maybe Spidey starts to get the ramifications of WandaVision. That's why Stephen Strange is in the movie. And then the next movie to happen chronologically would be Doctor Strange 2. Yeah. And then Spider-Man would be in that movie too. So
is Doctor Strange going to be in WandaVision?
That is not something that I've heard at all, but that doesn't, I haven't heard that. And if if he is in it, they've done a really good job of keeping that secret. And by the way, we're only 5 weeks away from WandaVision on January 15th. And we'll when we get into the new year at that point, I want to start doing this show on Fridays because WandaVision drops on Fridays. So we'll probably be very excited to talk about it at some point on Friday. And we'll let you know about that. But in the short term, we have one more episode for 2020, and that'll be next Thursday, the 17th of December. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central for those of you that are there, and noon Pacific. Once again, we'll be joined by the great Chris Claremont, longtime X-Men writer, and he will be promoting a few things, including Marvel has a 50th anniversary Chris Claremont special that'll be coming out a week from today. So next Wednesday, either go out to your comic shops, or you can, a lot of them are doing curbside. You can have it delivered. So you read that, and then we'll be talking about that, and also X-Men Legacy, which is a new series he'll be contributing to in 2021. And I have it on good authority. He has seen the New Mutants movie, but I have not asked what he thought of it. So I might go right to that. I might start with that, but I'll probably start with the new book. And Cami Egan points out this Chris Claremont book looks amazing. And there's like 20 variant covers. So Michael, you might have to pick out which one you want now, because there's a lot. There's a lot of variant covers to that. I think I've requested the A cover, the primary cover, because I'm bored.
And what is this for?
This is the Chris Claremont 50th anniversary special that's coming out next Wednesday.
Okay, this isn't that giant thing that they're selling.
We'll talk about that. The Paragon collection, which takes some of his best known stories and then also includes a prequel to Days of Future Past, something that they're calling Uncanny X-Men 140.5. So it comes before 141, and it's a brand new story that I believe he's currently working on. And Salvador LaRocca is providing the art for that. That closed for pre-orders on Friday. So, and you might be looking at somebody that impulsively pulled the trigger on that. So, because I wanted the new story, but we'll talk about that and so much more on our next show, which will be next Thursday. And then we're gonna take a couple weeks because it's Christmas. My kids will be around, and I can't sit in the living room by the Christmas tree and do a show when the kids are around all the time. But join us next Thursday, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. If there is big news out of the Disney call tomorrow, maybe we can do a quick little like Instagram live or something where we talk a little bit about it. But Michael, if people want to keep in touch with you, where do they do that?
You can find me on Instagram at I Hate Michael Shirley, and on Twitter at Michael X Shirley.
That's right. X as in expensive. That.
I am.
Yes. Well, thanks to Xia for giving us a little time. We hope to have her join us occasionally in the new year to talk about WandaVision. Thanks to everybody in the chat. It was a delightful time talking to all of you. We always appreciate your contribution on the show. And we will be back next Thursday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, talking to Chris Claremont. Until then, as the Stanley Excelsior, or as Michael Shirley would say, Excelsior.